righty, we're back because there were some interruptions. All righty, so we're back. Okay, this is better. I'm looking at it on my phone, y'all. Ooh, I think it's the rain. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think we're gonna be in business now. Oh, all righty. Hey, I'm gonna do this live. I am going to do this live, and when you watch this live, you can cut off the first 2 minutes when you place this on YouTube. How about that? Because woo. But hi, happy noonday, happy Thursday. I am determined. Lord, I'm determined to do this live. Okay. Because we cannot talk about consistency and this live is trying to throw me off. And that's exactly what we're going to, not the Facebook live, but I want to share with you something I have not been in this live space. You know what? Facebook memories will really reveal to you in a good way about things that have happened and that you were doing, and especially if you were doing those things in a consistent manner and one point and stopped, and it brings some conviction and all that good stuff. So, which is why we are here at this topic of bad habits, inconsistency, and how that relates to our successes. So, um, let me share so we can get this party started. That was not it that I want to share. So, I shared the wrong thing. Alrighty. But I want to go ahead and just share what's on my heart. Whomever this is for, I pray that it blesses you. And I think one of the things about starting things that you were not supposed to stop, let's just take the example of like going to the gym. It's it's like the struggle bus that it's like you've never done it, or you have got to get back in the rhythm. And what I am being led to do is get back in the rhythm of sharing and going live. It's been a minute. I've been sharing some videos lately, but it's still not at the space that God is calling me back to. And with that, I am going to be obedient and share. So today, I just want to share a brief. word about bad habits, um, and the impediment of that to success. I was watching one of my business mentors, Dunny Wiggins, just a phenomenal strategist. And that's a side note. You seeking mentorship and business support doesn't have to be somebody that you know. It could be somebody from a podcast or YouTube, but especially you want to gravitate towards people that are doing things at a higher level. And one of the things that I want to grow in is to, which I call myself, and I know that I am a strategist and that I can help people with their business ideas, nonprofit ideas, community ideas. You give me an idea, I can give you a whole plan. But how to be more successful in that, Dunny Wiggins is like the ultimate, one of the ultimate strategists. I like her, I like Darnell Jervey. And so there's just some different people. But all that to say, I was watching a video today of that she was sharing with on her podcast, and it was talking about how we need to gravitate from trying to do our best to doing what's required. And what is that requirement? Because oftentimes we can try to mask that we are doing so much by saying, well, I'm doing my best, when in actuality, we're defining what that best is. And so it's really probably a low bar to success, and the minimal actions that you are doing just to say you've done it or to check out the list. But she put a challenge out there basically to say and reflect on what is it that you need to prioritize and what are the requirements for your success than you trying to qualify the best. I'm doing my best to grow my business, I'm doing my best to work out. Well, your best and how you measure that, you could think, just let's just say working out, you go to the gym, do 20 minutes and you're like, I did my best, when you probably need to require yourself to do 40 minutes to see the results that you want. So this dovetails today as we're talking about bad habits and what that looks like and how does it impact success. uh, God has really been dealing with me on, it's not about that I don't have enough time. People can look at your life and say, oh, you're doing too much. None of that um, either, because God has graced me to have a high capacity to do things and to do big things. And so, and I know that's my grace. So it's not even that. It's not even stress. It's not even worry. I have to check, and I want to issue for all of us that we can be in places that we all need to check ourselves when we're complaining about how we want to get to the next level of results, whether that's in our career, in our relationships, in our businesses, and then we try to place blame on external factors, that I don't have enough time or I always have to be in this place with these people, and or always I don't have the support that I need, whether that's with people inside your business or that's financial support. We always have these excuses when we actually need to do some internal reflections that many times the barrier to success is not the access to financial capital. It's not the fact that we were not born in a pedigree. It's not our skin color. It's not our gender. None of that, because all of that, and I'm speaking as an African American woman who stands 6 feet tall, I recognize these are all blessings of the Lord, and I appreciate how God made me. None of those are detriments. None of those are barriers to me. I will. They're not barriers. They're my assets. They're my gifts. What is a barrier to me, if I can be honest with you, and I hope you're doing this, this introspection of bad habits, that we don't like to acknowledge that when it comes down to things that are not happening or occurring in our lives as we desire, and or how we know they are supposed to work out for us, it's because we have bad habits. And so I wanted to share, because if you really listen to this and if you really gravitate towards this message, then it'll really hit you in the jugular. We're telling others that I don't have the time, people are taking up my time, I have to be this family woman, and the kids, they need me in this spaces, I can't do what I want to do. And we continue to make excuses. We're making excuses when we are not doing what we are required to do because we have bad habits. We have bad habits of following trends. We have bad habits of putting success out there, of perceived success, and then not doing the work. I can attest to all of this. That we're more excited about posting that we are going back to school than actually being in school and getting good grades. Right? We want this perception of success, and we have bad habits of either trying to make people feel good or make ourselves feel good. All of these bad habits. So mine is inconsistency. I am here on this live, not wanting to do this live really, because it's like the gym example, excuse me, that I gave earlier, that when you're having to do something that you haven't done in a while, it's like you have to build up your muscle again. And you have to build up your muscle with your audience. You have to build up your muscle, it seems like, with Facebook algorithms, right? All of this stuff. And it's like I'm sitting here cringing, like I really don't want to do this as far as me. But I want to do it because God is saying that this is what you need to start back doing. I've been inconsistent. I started 3 projects. Well, 2 projects. No, 3 projects. I started 3 projects in the pandemic. And 1 project before the pandemic. And then I got away from them. I started making excuses. And I started being inconsistent. I was saying, well, the business is growing, different things are happening, I don't have the time. Instead of scheduling, one of these things was doing lives so that I can plan around this instead of trying to squeeze this in, until I got to the point to where I just did not want to do them. And then I was pulled from them because I wasn't doing them. Does that make sense? That you can't be at a place that you're ordained to do, and then you do it, and then you stop, and then it's like, okay, Lord, like, okay, well, you need to take a break, and then now you have to go back to this space again, and it is hard going back to spaces that you are not consistent in. Sometimes it can be intimidating. And I don't know what that space is for you. In your business, you may have been doing something. You may have been doing free workshops every month, and then you stopped that because other things got in the way. You probably were working out, or you were going on date nights with your spouse, and then you started being inconsistent. But you probably started picking up bad habits. Or you used to be a person that you didn't watch a lot of TV, and then now you're watching 3-4 hours a night. Start picking up these bad habits. So how do we eliminate and get over this space? Because we're called now to a place, if you're watching this and you're hearing this, then you are now being called to a space to where God is saying it's time for us to check our habits. It's time for us to check our bad habits. And you have to go and revisit that space to where you left. Because God did not leave. Wherever you have dropped the ball at, whatever you are called to do, and that God is calling you now to return to that space, there's a fresh grace, but there is some accountability that has to happen. This is my accountability moment of saying that I'm supposed to be here using my voice in this space. And I dropped the ball. And it's a hard thing to reconcile with, but it's a good thing when you know that God is still with you. So how do we get over these bad habits? So I wrote 3 things down I wanted to share with you. We have to ensure that, and I love what Dunny Wiggins said. She said that stop trying to do your best. Because again, you're trying to qualify your best when your best is probably too low. We need to do what is required of us to do every day for our success. What's required for us to stay clean every day is that we have to take a shower or a bath, right? That's a requirement for us to be successfully clean. We have to do that habit. That's a good habit, right? To do the opposite of that, it's a bad habit with bad results. It's the same thing with anything that in life right now that you have dropped the ball in and that you need to do, that you have to get to the good habits. You have to do what's required to do for the success and for the outcome that you need. Good habit of taking a shower to get the great outcome of being fresh and clean. Just trying to simplify it. So it's required of us. It's required for us to take care of ourselves. It's a requirement. It's not doing our best. It's a requirement for us to be clean. Right? So, with that, we have to start focusing on what's required of us every day to move toward that needle of success. And I'm not talking about success as what the world defines. With your family, that your family is in good standing. You know, that I have a verse and a passage, a verse that leads my life. I take Proverbs 31 to heart because, and I know a lot of people do that, the virtuous woman. No, I see myself in every facet, the business owner, the community influencer, the person that is about community needs and uplifting, and the wife and the mother who's intentional about how her children look at her. That my husband is that I am the jewel to his crown. Like I'm like it. I take it to heart. So therefore, success is has multiple layers. I'm not talking about just financial. I'm not talking about that's the lowest level of success, as my pastor always says. Money is the lowest level of success. It's a fruit, it's an outcome of what we're about to talk about if we do better in our habits. So I gotta wrap it up because I have like 3 minutes. Okay, number one, we have to check our habits. Stop making excuses. That the next layer and the next thing in life that we need to get to that propels our business, our families, our careers is us checking our habits and eliminating excuses. That what if we took accountability to say the only enemy that I have is the devil, and because I'm a child of God, since he has made me a target, then that means he has made God a target. God has him because he's already defeated. So therefore I have to work on the inner me, not the enemy, because he's already taken care of the inner me. I have to check my habits and stop making excuses. Number two, audit my activity. And I got that specific term from Dunny Wiggins. Um, and, for me, it's simplified, check your habits. And I want to show you something. So I follow this woman, Crystal Payne, from the Money Saving Mom. She has a habit track checker that I discovered about 2 months ago. And so before I print it out, I literally, what you have to do is write down your personal daily habits and business daily habits that is a requirement for you to do every day for you to be successful in the lanes to which you have identified. So I have a personal daily habit sheet and a business daily habit sheet. And I'll just give you some examples. And I also printed them out just to show you what they look like from her page, but I changed it. I edited it because I think she hasn't updated it since like 2020 or 2021. But this is not mine. And I can email you this if you want to, if you just inbox me. But it's personal daily habits. But again, I made my own sheet because I needed a bigger thing. And so let me share with you like what are some good personal habits that I need to do every day. So on here, I just give you some of them. I have devotion with God, exercise, walk or run, 30 minutes of reading, drinking water. And I had to put that down as a habit because it's not my natural inclination to go to water. That's me. Some of you all like, love it. And I have to, make that a habit of mine. I put down 15 minutes with T1, T2, T3, T4, and Junior. I know I have all these kids. And in the parentheses, I can't combine these because if we have a night to where like last night there's a play, there's a game, I have to, one of my personal habits is to ensure that I'm intentionally spending time with them. And a lot of this is covered too at dinner time as we're sitting around the table. But a habit that I want to ensure that I have is that I'm intentionally engaging with my children. I even have this on um, nighttime talk with the hubby. Like that's a habit that I want to have with my husband. And I calculated it up because again, it's not about you writing 10,000 things. It's saying what are non-negotiables of your life that you need to do every single day that helps you meet your goal. And so all of these things right here just it's not even about oh I do have that it's 60 minutes or less scrolling on social media. Like these are things that I am checking my habits that doing these things helps me to be the best required version of where God needs me to be, what I want to be for myself. The other, I have a business daily habit. And with my business daily habits, it's saying to, for now, these are, again, I just shared with you the personal things, but the business daily habits, it's saying these are the things that I need to do every day to check off that will help me succeed in the business. That I need to have a devoted time for client work. That I need to ensure that I am reaching out and spending time training with my assistant. That I do 30-minute grant research for clients. Um, that I spend 10 to 30 minutes a day for learning from a mentor. Like these are daily business habits. And you're probably saying, how are you doing this all throughout the day? When I calculate up even my business habits, that's basically my work day. Right? It's like it's my work day saying if you do these things, and some days are not done every day. Like I need to send my newsletter, which I can't say is a business habit I have not been consistent in. And so, and that goes supposed to go out once a week. And I still haven't been consistent in that, which goes back to we have to check our bad habits. Because in order for me to engage and keep my audience engaged, they need to know that I'm there in content, whether that's written or like this via video, has to be a part of that. And so I hope that you can utilize this. Again, I made two business daily habits, personal daily habits. This is not something that I made up. It's Crystal Payne from the Money Saving Mom. You can go to her website, download it for free. But I just took it and tailored it a little bit to me. But I wanted to give her credit because that was the inspiration. And then three, the last one, so I can wrap it up. Make it practical. So how do we get over our bad habits, do what's required? We have to make it practical. What's that being practical? Writing it down, keeping it with you. This is in my folder. This is with me every day. I'm learning to be more consistent because that is the bad habit that I need to part ways with, and that we become enemies, being inconsistent. But you have to make it practical. And then the other part of that is getting the accountability and getting a partner. And so I shared this with my husband. And I honestly need to share with my assistant that these are the things that I need to do to ensure that we're meeting our business goals. And then for the personal goals that I'm doing, that you can use it, you can share that with your best friend. But we have to just have some system where we're auditing our habits, that we're auditing what we're doing day to day, because it's the little things, it's not the big things that you feel like, okay, you've binged for this, a favorite show that makes you unsuccessful, because you don't do that every day. It's all the little things. It's having the notifications on from social media and stuff, and that's distracting you. It's the little things. Not saying that social media is bad. It could be the TV, it could be the news, whatever that vice is. Having an accountability helps you check those habits. So, with that, you will have the opportunity. I'm going to send it out if you're on my email list. Let me put that in here. Again, going back to what God has told me to do, and I have not done in a long time, but we're going back to where I am led, and know that I'm called to serve women and to share inspiration and insight, and wisdom. And so, if you want to be on the email list, because in May, we're going to go back to checking our habits and going back to this challenge of auditing our activities and our habits. And if you want to be a part of that challenge, sign up. And I'm going to be sharing more information about that. But it's, again, I've been inconsistent with the things that God has told me to do, and have replaced them. And that's the thing, that when you give up something, something else will come along. But don't leave the place that God has blessed you with until it's time, until you're released. Other than that, you know, you have to be back at this place of starting over, starting again. But the great thing, again, is about the grace of God. So I pray that today, if you watch this, that you're making some notes of checking your own habits. I pray that you will sign up and share and look and start gauging those activities. Let's do it for 30 days. They said 15 to 21 days makes a habit. What if we choose now for the month of May to take those 30 days to break them and to indoctrinate ourselves with new habits, so that we can get to the levels of success and to the purpose to which God has called for us. I know He's calling us to this space, so I'm inviting you to join me and tell any great woman that wants to take this journey what we're doing. And I thank you so much for joining in this, your lunchtime, and I pray that you have a great remainder of your day and that we watch our habits. Alrighty, bye bye.